Hi everyone, it's Lauren from Crafty Hippie, and today we're going to make this magical mermaid card featuring a coastal cabana and granny apple green mermaid. I made this card using the Magical Mermaid stamp set. It's one that I use a lot. It's got 8 stamps in it, including this large mermaid here that I've used as the focus of my card. And I've also used the Hello sentiment from the Banners for You stamp set. All of the products I'll be using today you can still buy. They're current at the time of this video, and you can find the links underneath in the comments. Just want to apologise for my really croaky voice. I've had a really terrible cold, and so I'm a bit deeper than normal. Okay, so to make this card you need to stamp your mermaid in some Memento ink. So pop your mermaid on like so, and then put her aside to dry. I'm now going to do the seaweed. I've actually taped up the bottom already because it's a little bit fiddly. What I usually do is line up my card base with the lines on this grid paper. Then I get a ruler which I line up either side, and then I put the post-it notes up to the ruler so you've got a nice straight line. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on my grid paper to keep my card base down. I've stamped the seaweed in a mixture of greens and blues, depending on who you talk to. Coastal Cabana is green or blue. It's a sort of turquoisey colour. So I'm going to use that one. Actually, I'll probably use that one last. Granny apple green and lemon lime twist. So we're going to start off with the granny apple green, using the weed stamp, the seaweed stamp out of Magical Mermaid. And I'm just going to sort of change the height of the stamp so that the weeds come in at different levels. Probably just hear me off screen cleaning my stamps using our Stampin scrub. Now I'm going to do the same with lemon lime twist, and then I'll finish off with the Coastal Cabana. So I'm not really doing this I'm not concentrating too hard. I'm just doing some random weed stamping, not thinking about it too hard. If you're new to Stampin' Up, you'll probably notice that I've got different ink pads. These are what we call our old style. They're slowly, well, they have been phased out, and these are our new ink pads. The new ones are much more streamlined compared to the old ones, and they actually stack when you put them together. I really like the new ones, but it'll probably be a while before all of mine are like this. But if you're wondering what the difference was. Okay, so now some Coastal Cabana, which I think is a green, other people say is blue. It's a nice sort of turquoisey colour. There we go, I've just layered that up to create some beautiful weeds. I also did some bubbles, and I just used the black. I tried to use sort of a few a few ink pads, not too many colours, because it does start to get expensive. It's lovely making all these beautiful cards with millions of products, but it's not very realistic. So I do try sometimes to create projects that are simple enough for people to copy, or are cheaper to buy. Okay, so that's our base done. When your mermaid is dry, then it's time to colour using the blender pens. These come in a pack of 3, and they're absolutely brilliant. I use them for all sorts of things. You can use them either with the ink pads, the ink refills, or with our watercolour pencils. Now if you've got the ink refills, you can just drop a few drops of the same colour as your ink pad in the lid. So, which is what I've done with this Coastal Cabana one here. But if you haven't got the ink refills, you can either squeeze the ink pad together and it leaves a little bit on the lid, or you can be a bit naughty like me and actually just touch the corner of your ink pad and it will pick the colour up. It's not going to do the ink pad any harm, especially not when you top it up anyway. You need to remember to clean off your brush between colours. So as you can see, I've put some Bermuda Bay on there. I haven't got an ink refill for Granny Apple Green, so I'm just going to pick up the colour from the Granny Apple Green and colour the mermaid. Now you can blend the colours in together until you get the look that you want. Keep going until your mermaid is done, and then you need to fussy cut her out like so. I've actually smudged it a little bit. I'm terrible for doing that when I'm on film. So to elevate your mermaid, we need some Stampin dimensionals. I've actually run out, so I'm just using the longer foam strips by Stampin' Up. Let's pop a few of those on there. We also need to stamp our sentiment, which is hello in this case. I make a lot of hello or thank you cards because I do actually send them out to my customers to thank them when they order. So on my original card I've popped it here. Let's move that up so you can see. I had to pop the hello just under the weeds, but as we've got a little smudge and it's a handmade card, you can do what you want. So I'm just going to pop that down there to cover that. Now all we need to do is mount this to our card base. And then we need to add on some of the Share What You Love Sweet Artisan Pearls, which are these. And then you will have completed your project. And there we have it. A magical mermaid Stampin' Up card using Coastal Cabana, Granny Apple Green and Lemon Lime Twist.